Alright, hello again. Now I'm going to be talking to you about traditional grip. By the way, if you haven't watched the match grip video, I'd highly recommend that you do that, as the right hand is going to have the same kind of technique and the same kinds of concepts that you want to master for traditional grip as well. So if you haven't watched that, I'd recommend you check that out first. Now as far as traditional grip is concerned, right hand, clearly the exact same approach as what you saw in the match grip. Now, for the left hand, a lot of things are very similar, but I'm going to explain some things to you in a little bit different of a way. So you want to have the stick 1/3 of the way from the butt end. That's where you want your fulcrum. Same kind of thing as what we did in match grip. 1/3 of the way from the butt end of the stick. Clearly on traditional grip though, we hold it back here in the pocket between the thumb and the first finger. Okay, so that's step one. Next thing to recognize is that traditional grip basically employs 3 different units on your hand. You have your thumb, you have your first 2 fingers, and you have your ring finger and your pinky working as the 3rd unit. Okay, so I'll get to that in just a second. So we have the 1/3 of the way up on the stick. Now the next thing I usually teach is the bottom fingers, and you want to have these again mirroring each other. And I typically like to rest the stick on the nail, technically the cuticle between the nail and where it meets the finger. Have it resting on the ring finger, and again you notice that my pinky is mirroring my ring finger. And you'll notice of course that these fingers are curved as well. Like we talked about in some previous videos, everything is always a natural application of how your body typically is. You never want to contort your body to be unnatural. Okay, so we have the bottom 2 are curved. Now the top 2 fingers, we add those next, and again you notice that they're curved. My first finger and my second finger are mirroring each other, and the whole thing is in the 3 different units. My thumb, first 2, and then my bottom fingers. You notice the connection point. This is typically the biggest discrepancy I see with students that are just starting traditional grip. Biggest discrepancy, number 1, is where the thumb meets the first finger. I typically like to explain this to students as you form like a lowercase t between the thumb and that finger. That's usually the best connection point for having the mass appropriated on the stick. Okay, so that's the first thing, and the second thing, of course, which I mentioned, is having the stick rest on the cuticle of the ring finger, and that gets you set up correctly. Okay, so now we go to the drum. You notice that my right hand is flat, like I talked about in the match grip video. The left hand, the thumb should essentially point upwards. The thumb should point up that way, and the palm will face off to the side. You don't want to contort it this way, as you'll have an incorrect path to the drum. You notice that if I were to play right now, I get 2 separate tone qualities, and so you want to have the same part of the bead hit the drum head that you have in your right hand. Okay, so you notice that I have the same distance off the drum. The way I usually define that is 1 to 2 fingers off the drum. So if you were to put 2 fingers there, on most sticks, that gets the correct part of the bead playing on the drum head. So everybody check this out. And again, notice that from hand to hand, it should look the same as far as the sticks and the beads are concerned, although the setup in the hands is slightly different. And this is how I would typically explain traditional grip.